Well, that's the tent eventually set up. Had to get the guy ropes on, guidelines, or what you call them. It was blowing a gale. I was hoping to get pitched out there somewhere, but the wind coming up the loch now. It's a bit gusty. In places almost lost the tent. I just left it there freestanding until I went and get the pegs and the thing rolled over, so still cracking views right enough. So I'll continue getting set up while it's daylight. What I have brought today is the new stove, so I need to cut a hole in the tent. Into this bit here, just to let the stove pipe out, so I'll measure that out I think, and then attack it. Yeah, I'll just use the spark arrestor to mark that out. It's pretty much centre, and it's 1 inch lower from the apex there, just to keep it away from that bit of the tent. Seems to be plenty of movement down here. Don't want it too far into the tent either, so for that I'm just going to cut it like that rather than cut the circle out, and hopefully the stovepipe will go through it. I've already done the first cut in there. Just work my way out the way now. Don't think you get many second chances with these. This one doesn't come out. This one's sewn in, this stove jack. Don't know how these are actually meant to be in, but there we go. See how that goes. Can always take it a wee bit. This need to be more so at the top probably, because it does go in at an angle, so I might push that in. But we'll get the stovepipe set up. I actually need to put the guy ropes on that as well since it's so windy, so it might be a while. Well, that's everything set up. Got the flue through the tent. Stove's in there pegged down. Bed's made up. Beer's there. Well, here's the bag for the stove, and the panniers I brought in 2 bags of hardwood logs. So there's no sparks. So we sit, have a beer, phone home, and then we'll maybe get this stove lit up. See how it goes. There's the wood stash for tonight. That's just stuff out the local garden centre, one of these bags you buy for about £8, so we'll see how long that lasts in the stove, but it's certainly not cold tonight, especially setting up. Absolutely roasted. Darkness wasn't too far away. Once I think about finishing work, time I finish work, get up here, cycle up 3 miles up a Forster Road, 4 miles, get set up, make up the guy lines, all that kind of stuff. But it could have been better planned, but I just wanted to get out and about, so won't be long to get this kindled up. Just to show how much rain's fallen over the last couple of weeks. Use as a wee beach out there somewhere. I did a test of a look at the one tiger's seat here a while back, but there's plenty of water in the loch now. It's not tidal, don't worry, so I've picked the highest bit I can in this wee bit. Just remember, whatever you do, keep a wee stick for adjusting the vents because it's roasting, and taking care of your wee handle there. think I've used about 4 bits of wood. Excuse the beer. So once that settles down a wee bit, I think I'll try and cook some square sausage. Still pretty windy out there. The forecast was for winds of about 15-16 mile an hour with gusts up to 30-35, so from a westerly direction, so I thought it'd be alright tucked in here. Right, here goes nothing. Sounds about right. Smells about right. Environmentally healthy, eat your heart out. Look at that, big dirty sooty fingers. Don't splash my tent. That's a bit done. Job's a good one. Well, I managed to cook my dinner. Not quite burnt the glass all clear, but I'll just let that tick over for a minute and then I'll bob some more wood on. So blowing a gale. Haha, there you are. Well, the rain that wasn't forecast has arrived, as well as the wind. So I'm just going to get inside, batten down the hatches, stick some more wood on the fire. Don't know if you can see the guy lines or not. They are reflective, probably see it in some of the pictures or some other footage, but they're more like choke hazards than trip hazards at that height. Anyway, I'll go in there, have another beer, stick some logs on and sit and relax. Just messing about with the stove as you do. Still quite black round the side because I put more wood in, but I've closed all the doors in the tent. I've closed the front of that. The damper around the back, that's shut as well, if you can see that or not. But just kicking out some amount of heat. It's probably about 9 degrees or something just now. That's 9 degrees Celsius by the way. So it's plenty warm outside, never mind about this inside, but alright, quite happy with that. Round 2. Not even hungry. Oh, that's the stove, it's been burning for about 4 hours. The wood, I've maybe used half, just over half. It's raining outside, I don't know if you can hear that or not. Pitter patter. But it's absolutely roasting here. The damper's about half open and I've closed up the front there, so all the heat is coming into the tent. I smelt some burning earlier on, but I think it's all the creepy crawlies that unfortunately landed on top of the stove. So I've had my beer, I've thrown as much wood on as I can. I don't think I'll even survive putting that on. There's no point because it's absolutely roasting. So once this burns out, I'll be going to my bed. I think the next thing is I'll see you in the morning, unless I report in before. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the morning. Where's that torch? Good morning. Made it through the night. Stove's still there. I don't know if that's focusing as it's my eyes or not. Wood's still there. Never bothered putting any more wood on it last night. It was absolutely roasting in here. I actually couldn't handle the heat. It was that hot sitting up close to it. So I went to bed probably just after 11. An early night, but I feel better for it this morning. Slept not too bad, so I wasn't going to bother firing up the stove this morning, but I think I will. It's I don't know what time it is, just after 6 o'clock. First lights maybe about 2:30, 2:45 I think, maybe 6:45. So I'll kindle this up and eventually have my breakfast, and I'll go out and see what it's like outside. It is quite calm. The wind is now gone, thankfully. It did rain during the night as well, but it's cosy enough in here, so I'll get Mac together, stick some logs on there, chill out for a wee bit till daylight comes in, take a mooch about outside, see what's happening, and catch up soon. That was my first night in the tent. I forgot to say the way these doors work. Not that they've got hinges on them, but that side is the fixed side and you unzip it there, so you need to be super careful getting in and out of the tent because you've got the stove there, and if you just throw the door over the front of the tent, you've got the stove piping outside. You need to be super careful. Thankfully I never had too much to drink last night. But no, if this, you can see it, probably better doing it at daylight, but if this side here was the fixed side and it unzipped that way, it maybe be a bit better. Probably a pain in the arse to get down to that corner and actually to unzip it, but aye, caution at all times. I basically just tied back the door last night for pretty much the whole night, apart from when that was me in. Save going through that rigmarole and making sure it never touched the stove. It did touch the stove this morning when I went out for a wee look, and it's wet there just because the door falls against it because of gravity. So aye, one to watch out for. Safety first and all that. Just have a quick look in there. That's all that was left of that wood I put through there last night, so alright, certainly burnt well. It was just basically like dust that, so I'm just going to fire the logs on and we'll take it all apart to empty it out for all it is, so I'll get this sparked up. Afternoon, morning. Changed from last night. Just me and the herring out for breakfast this morning. The walk is pretty much flat camp. Another image. It was blowing a gale last night when I got here. Never got to do much footage or record much footage and the setup of everything. Absolutely stunning this morning. Tent's over there somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Hiding away at the back there, try to get some protection out of the trees. But it's all settled down nicely this morning. So got on with my breakfast and catch up in a minute. Well, that's the stove dying down now, so I'll just let it go. Wait till it cools down, so I'll just hang about here. No hurry to get down the road. Start tidying things up a wee bit and just relax. Just a wee detail on how I put that on. That's the clips. Just put one of these carabiner things onto it and tied that rope onto it. That cord. It's 4mm, it's probably a bit heavy duty for this, so I might actually change that. I just bought it because it's reflective, but when you've not got the head torch on, it's not reflective. So last night I walked into the guy ropes quite a bit, and what it's done is pushed that bit. That's the bit where it came out the tent, out the stove jack. It's put a fair wee dent in it, so I might actually, once I go home, cut that bit off and start it again. But it just shows you how fragile these things are. That was just a trip over the guy lines that did that. So there you go, don't trip over them. But I was terrible even setting the thing up. Before I had a drink, by the way, I was kicking the guy lines, so aye, a bit of a nightmare, but it's no the end of the world. The pipe's massive, so it can lose 4 or 5 inches down the bottom there. Also bought these wee plastic things, just to be tensioners you can put onto the rope. Just lets you cinch it up a wee bit. You're not meant to pull the stovepipe too hard, so it's just to stop any major movement, so they were a good wee purchase. Gloves on this time. You lose all the rings probably. what's inside that. That's what, 3 buns. I might need to do some maintenance to these, I don't know, if anybody knows. Leave a comment, I suppose. There we go, so the rings back on it. Quite handy. I don't know if I'll actually end up getting the sectional flue, maybe. That is quite good, right enough having this, and the length definitely eliminates the chances of any embers coming out the top of it. So the time they travel to the end of this, they'll be bloody stone cold. So now for the tent. Just a wee bit of heat in this. Enough to stop me getting this off right enough. Still feel a bit of heat. Quite a nice colour those now. The thing was glowing red last night, right enough. Top of the stove and the flue itself, so more so when you've got the damper wide open, the heat's just escaping. So I'll still let that cool a wee bit before I empty it. I'll start packing up the rest of the stuff now, so that here it can cool down. Make sure they're horsed up once we're losing them. And for transport, a wee spark arrestor fits in there quite nicely. Empty. So back in the bag, the stovepipe, spark arrestor, the damper, the guy lines that I made up last night, everything's in here, so all the spare parts. The stove away. Another wee thing that I bought just for camping, it's just a wee microfiber towel. Just going to use that to dry the outside of the tent, get the worst out off, and then I'll get it hung up in the garage just to dry it off completely along with the inner as well. But this is quite handy. Seen this done by somebody else, obviously. Fancy, can hang this up to dry as well. Well, if it does its job, as if you'd never seen a towel dry something before. These trip hazards. Well, that's the inner taken out. A lot of people use these in the winter time without an inner. Some tents don't come with an inner, so might be an idea to save some weight. As long as you've got kind of half decent ground to be pitched on. Maybe a wee raised bed would be ideal. But always another option. set this tent up quite a few times now. Not quite sure what the best way is to do it because of the 3 poles, but I found that when you take it down, if you leave the doors open, it takes that tension off and it basically lets it lie flat like that for getting the poles out. I might just leave the doors open like that and see if it's any better setting it up. But I need to try it out when I get down the road anyway, so I'll leave it at that just now to put it away, and then if I put it back up like that, we'll see. It might be a bigger nightmare. Poles are massive. Sorted. What we do is we just put this in the panniers of the bike since they're empty now. No point in packing it away too tight. Do that rigmarole. So, air out this. Go quite nicely in the panniers. We do the same with this. Get it bundled up. Stick it in the panniers. Not too precious about it. It's down the road into the garage. Get the beasties off it. Just stash the unused logs in here. A good find for somebody, save them hacking a live tree down. Just in case you spotted this monstrosity in any of the shots, that's just a wee bit of that bubble wrap. Insulation is quite thick, but it's lightweight. I brought that just in case I had to pitch in a forestry road last night in case there was no ground here with the rising water level. So I just thought I'd put that down underneath the inner just to protect that kind of bathtub floor if required, but thankfully I never needed it. But it is a bit bulky to be carrying, not heavy, but just a pain. So we check over where I was pitched, that kind of flat spot. Nothing left, which is good. There's the bike all loaded up. Well, had a good night last night. First time out with a hot tent, full setup. It was good. It wasn't a hot tent, it was a roasting hot tent, so it all went not too bad. The only thing was that stovepipe damaged that with tripping over the guy lines, so that's my own fault. So I'm just going to head back down the road I think now. So thanks for watching. It wasn't so much about setting up this time because when I arrived last night it was getting dark, it was windy, there was a wee bit of rain, so my focus was on that rather than trying to capture every moment of it. So it was more about takedown and seeing this area, but now it's quite good. So hope you've enjoyed the video and I'll try and get something recorded soon. Cheers.